The Compliance Escalation Scale.
The Compliance Escalation Scale represents a dramatic and severe approach to ensuring compliance, escalating from economic incentives to direct threats of violence and destruction. Each step on this scale represents a fundamentally different strategy, moving from peaceful to highly aggressive and potentially unlawful methods.
Economic choice, incentive-based compliance. This is the most peaceful and constructive approach on the scale. It's widely used in policy making and management, providing positive reinforcement through financial or other material incentives to encourage desired behaviors.
This method respects individual choice and promotes voluntary compliance, aligning the interests of the individual with those of the enforcer or governing body. It's an evidence-based strategy that can lead to sustainable change without coercion.
Unleash the jackals. If you hear the shot, it was not for you.
This phrase dramatically shifts the tone and approach from the first method. It suggests the use of targeted threats or actions against specific non-compliant individuals as a warning to others. This method involves intimidation and fear as tools for compliance, stepping into ethically and legally questionable territory. There's an inherent risk of escalating conflict and resistance, and such tactics can lead to a breakdown of trust and community cohesion. It's metaphorically akin to using jackals, or hired aggressors, which introduces a morally and legally problematic element of plausible deniability for the enforcers.
Military, paramilitary, burn it down. Salt the earth. This represents the most extreme form of compliance enforcement, invoking imagery of total warfare and scorched earth tactics. It implies the use of overwhelming force, not just to ensure compliance, but to completely destroy the capacity for any opposition. Historically, salting the earth is a symbolic act of ensuring nothing can grow, indicating a strategy not just of victory but of annihilating the possibility of future dissent. This approach is destructive, likely unlawful, and ethically indefensible. It disregards human rights, the rule of law, and principles of proportionality and necessity. Aspirational commentary and pragmatic considerations. The escalation from incentivized compliance to violent enforcement highlights a grim trajectory towards authoritarianism and away from democratic principles and human rights. While the first stage represents a legitimate and often effective method of encouraging compliance through mutual benefit, the subsequent stages introduce violence and destruction as tools for control, compelling obedience through fear rather than respect or mutual understanding. Such an escalation undermines the social contract and erodes the legitimacy of authority, potentially inciting further resistance and violence. It's critical for societies to navigate the delicate balance between ensuring compliance and preserving the rights and dignity of individuals. Reliance on force and intimidation as primary methods of compliance can lead to a cycle of conflict, diminishing trust and cohesion within communities and between citizens and their governing bodies. Responsible governance and societal management should prioritize dialogue, transparency, and accountability, employing coercion only as a last resort, in accordance with the principles of legality, necessity, and proportionality. Make no mistake, however, a fully formed, self-sustaining corporate entity will absolutely ignore any ethical, moral, or legal constraint when faced with an existential threat. That is why it is imperative to understand the compliance escalation scale. Remember, in a world where you can be anything, choose to be kind, thoughtful, and a force for positive change. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful content.